And we're live. You're on mute. Or I can't hear you, one or the other.
Oh, must not have been able to hear me.
Oh, yeah. You're terrible.
Yep. Pretty terrible.
What's up, folks? I'm back. I'm back in the States after traveling for the last week. I'm finally home. Disastrous departure, tumultuous return. When I got to Toronto, I got my passport and boarding pass checked 8 times.
Really?
They had 8 stops.
At Toronto?
In Toronto, of all places.
Wasn't even U.S.?
Wasn't even the U.S. Toronto, Canada stopped me 8 times.
Dang.
Everybody 8 times. I mean, it was fucking ridiculous. I was
Damn, they're getting
pissed.
tough.
I was pissed.
Did you get to see the cathedrals in Cologne?
I saw them. I didn't get to like explore
actually
them.
explore them. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of my go-to things I wanted to see, but didn't get a chance to. Everyone was talking about it. But what's up, folks? It's Frag Logic episode 81. I know last week we had some issues with getting episode 80 up, so over the course of this week, I'm going to try to fix some of the issues with 80, get that posted on YouTube for the folks that missed episode 80. It is currently there, but it's silent for whatever reason. So I just turned it off instead of having people listen to whatever that Irish music it was playing, some flute thing.
It was really weird. They just replaced it. It's like, you know what? We think your video would still maintain its quality if we just put Irish flute music in there. Like, you know what? That's not going to make a difference at all for a talk show. Like, you might as well just take it down, Activision.
Right.
Just take it down.
So
you can watch the VOD on Twitch, though.
Yeah. So
that's what I've been directing people to. I just load the VOD on Twitch. It's not muted at all.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't fucking be YouTube.
So if you're
sitting
interested,
there giving free publicity, playing their trailers.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link in the description for the full unadulterated episode of Frag Logic 80. So it'll be in this description.
That's gonna be the hidden episode.
Yeah, I know. People are gonna be like, "What happened to episode 80? You guys are lying. You guys haven't gone however many straight. Where's episode 80?" People are gonna be calling us out.
But then people will be like, "Nah, I remember 80.
Yeah, just be like, that was the flute music."
I was there. I watched 80 live.
Oh man, so
dude just played trailers all day.
Yeah, today we got a number of things we're talking about. We got Destiny. They had a number of updates coming out of Gamescom. The one that was kind of slid in there underneath the radar was they released this trailer for competitive multiplayer. Then they had a Q&A live with Too Old to Play. And so I want to say Deej was on there, who's I think their community manager, if I'm not mistaken, or Bungie. He was on there talking, and there was a question that someone asked in chat, basically about private matches. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. CSGO. God damn, CSGO was balling this weekend.
They blew it up.
Balling. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of CSGO, but there was enough to warrant some discussion. Obviously, viewership was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Also got matches. Yep. Also got some stuff for No Man's Sky, just because I feel like throwing it in. Just because. It's nothing big. Just because. Got Elgato launching a new product, which they launched on the 11th. I think it was Monday of last week. So literally like Gamescom week, they announced this new capture card. And that's pretty much it. There's a couple other things that I kind of want to talk about, but I'm going to wait till after. Actually, Colin, we might be able to, I might throw those up. I'm going to just type it in here. I don't want people to know until we talk about it. So it's a secret right now. So if you don't watch the show, then you're just gonna miss out. But I've already made a video about it, Colin, talking about it. I think it comes out in like 2 days or something like that.
Okay.
So weekend gaming, I was in Gamescom over the weekend. I pretty much just traveled around different booths that I could. I basically was an observer, right? I was actually on the NVIDIA stage doing presentations. I did 2 presentations for Fortnite. I was going to say Frag Logic. I did 2 presentations for Frag Logic up on the NVIDIA stage. You guys need to watch the show. But no, it was weird because the first time, you know, I kind of went through, they did like a couple different slides and stuff before I went on. And then the second time, the guy that was on just immediately called me out and I wasn't ready. So I was like out of the zone, and that one was a little bit shorter. So I was mentally preparing myself because they had like 1,000 people or something like that at the booth. Like Gamescom, listen guys, if you have not been to Gamescom, it is fucking huge. It is huge. There are so many people.
Look dense.
I mean,
I think dense was the word from the script, from the pictures I saw.
Listen, Colin. But here's the thing that people don't understand. Like, some people might think it's like one floor. It is fucking like 10 halls that are all
the convention center is massive.
All huge. They're all like the size of PAX East in Boston. If any of you guys have been there, all of them are like the hangar size, and every single one of them is filled to the brim with people. It's something like 400,000 people come in there a day. There were so many people that they had to hold up the line, let people in as people were leaving. That's how many people there were. I mean, it took literally like 30 minutes to walk maybe 100 yards because it was just so jam-packed. Now I'm surprised, like whatever the sickness was that's going around, like I do not want none of that because people were in very close proximity of each other. So they probably got the Gamescom plague over there or something. But I mean, the booths were massive. FIFA, EA Sports, and just EA's general presence over there. They had this massive booth that was literally, it could have been its own convention hall. It was like this huge circular, almost like a stadium presentation. And they had like Battlefield, Hardline, they had Dragon Age, I think was in there. They had FIFA, they had Dawn Gate, there's one other one that they had, Sims, they had something else, but it was just massive. It was like half of a hall. It was huge. Walked over Microsoft booth, Xbox One basically had all their stuff on display with indie titles and Sunset Overdrive. Advanced Warfare was over there. And then over on PlayStation side, they had this huge Destiny area. Evolve was like scattered at different booths. Evolve did like something really creative. They had like private showings at a bunch of different like spots around the venue. So it wasn't like because what happened at PAX, right, is like if you went to PAX East this past year, they did this huge they had a huge booth and it was like a 3-hour wait just to play. And so this time they scattered like their play areas all over. So like you could play at NVIDIA, you could play at one of the Twitch areas. I can't remember which one it was. It was like right outside of ESL. You could play over there. They had their own booth. You could play at like 2K. So I thought that was pretty creative to do that, kind of spread out the line, you know what I mean? So a lot of different people got to play, and they actually, I think they got Game of the Show or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, if there's a way to compete against all those other people, that would be the way, so, you know, you can get maximum penetration.
Any people talking like, oh, we need to go hit up the 2K line because it's way shorter than the other ones. Got to do it early.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty smart. That's actually one of the better ways I've actually seen a booth or at least a company developer advertise their game so people could play. I thought that was pretty sweet. Twitch's stuff was crazy. I saw Battle Cry. You know, remember Ian Villeman from Edge of Reality. I actually talked with him. He was out there. And
yeah, I think Lucas was there. He used to be at Certain Affinity as well.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't get a chance to play their game. He told me to hit him up at PAX to play Battle Cry. So I'll go hit him up. But we talked and stuff. That's pretty cool. But I can't really explain in words just how big it is without people actually being there. That was the biggest thing.
It's a massive convention hall.
It is just huge. Like
just to walk around, like like the outside of the buildings, it'll probably take you a good 20 minutes.
Yeah. So
and that's with no people.
If you've been to PAX Prime, most people know that's like, I think it's four floors. It could be 6 floors. I can't remember. But like once you get up to floor 4, 5, and 6, they're like puny little like indie stuff. Like it's not the main floor, so there's not a lot of foot traffic up there. Everywhere you went, it was packed. So it's pretty sweet.
Did you get doner kebab?
I did.
Okay.
I got that. I got.
Is it from like a small place near the convention center?
Yeah, I got bratwurst. I got currywurst, or currywurst. I got this Turkish meal. It was like lamb. It was like a lamb wrap. It was almost like a gyro.
Yeah, stoner.
And I got chicken of the same thing.
Yep.
It was cool, man. It was a really awesome experience. I was telling Christy I had this German girl hitting him on me. It was interesting. So it was funny because
when you say German girl, I picture straight like lederhosen and like the whole getup. Like that just immediately comes into my mind. Like that's all I got.
She came and talked to us after I came up. Well, right before we went up on stage the first time to talk with NVIDIA. And then after we got off the stage, she had like, the star eyes. She was like, "You were on stage? You were just up there. I just saw you up there. I didn't realize when I was talking to you that you were someone that was up there."
Yeah, I'm up there.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny. So also I played Robocraft. I played some of that earlier today. Didn't get to play any games yesterday because I had just got off my flight and stuff. And I want to talk a little bit about Arena of Fate, but I'm gonna leave that until we kind of blast through some of this other stuff. So what was your weekend like, man?
Played a little bit of Dota, another like 12 hours of Divinity. I think we're at like 25 or 30 hours, and we just pretty much wrapped up the first area. Which is partially because we're slow, but partially because it's just really tons of stuff to do. And then we played Titanfall on Sunday with Danny and crew.
Trolling people? Trolling your viewers?
Yeah, I put my stream title as and this is Kupo that encouraged me to do it. But he Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Beta was the name of my stream. And I put myself on the game too, which I felt bad about that. But at the same time, like if you click a stream and it says Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Beta, you should be suspicious, especially when there's one guy streaming it and he has 10 viewers, right? Like all these things combined should put the pieces together and be like, oh, that guy's not streaming. But then they still would go into the chat and they'd be upset and pissed at me and call me one guy called me a prick. One dude said you shouldn't be lying on the internet, and he was very serious about it.
Dang.
So it was pretty funny. So, I mean, I felt bad because you shouldn't list your game title as something else. That's poor.
Unless you play.
We've done it on the show. We put this as Star Citizen several times, and people have been upset.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain games obviously that people.
But again, you look at the thumbnail and you're like, "That's two dudes talking."
That's two dudes talking. There's no, what the hell? But what I thought was.
But that said, I gained like 30 subscribers over the course of the day.
So here's what I think everyone should kind of take away from that. I don't care what people say about, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Titanfall, right? There have been multiple articles where basically Sledgehammer is trying to say vehemently that they are not Titanfall, right? Like, I saw 3 GameSpot articles saying why Call of Duty is not Titanfall. Then I saw IGN talking about the same thing, some game comparisons, Titanfall is thrown in there, right? So, hey, some people were talking about, there was this argument that someone made, I can't remember who it was, but it was on YouTube talking about, well, hey, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare's development was, Sledgehammer was working on this since Modern Warfare 3. It's been at least 3 years. And I was thinking, come on, dude, Respawn was done after Modern Warfare 2. So they were probably thinking about Titanfall somewhere around the time of the end of Modern Warfare 2, and they couldn't work on it because of all the fallout that we previously saw. So anyone under the impression that this wasn't the game, or this wasn't close to the game that we were going to get with and back then, Infinity Ward's next Call of Duty is like delusional.
Yeah, that was like one of the first people in my stream was like,
you're drinking the fucking Kool-Aid.
Man, Advanced Warfare or Titanfall copy COD.
Yeah,
like,
you're drinking the fucking Kool-Aid.
Titanfall copy Advanced Warfare. They knew what they were doing.
Just like, stop being ignorant.
The cool thing though is I had some guys come into chat say, "Oh, fuck you," yada 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 yada. But then I checked my viewer list like an hour later, and they were still watching.
They're still in there. Damn, this dude's pretty good.
Because I was just running around craving people. We went 17-0. Matchmaking still sucks balls. It's awful. I can't play anymore because the matchmaking is awful.
What do you mean? It's so fun, man.
I mean, it's fun to just run around, but at the same time, like at some point, it's just like I'm just running around and shooting people.
You're acting like it's gonna be any different on any other fucking game.
Well, we'll talk about it here shortly because it's going to be the same shit on Destiny.
All right, so
and you can tell I'm already a little salty about it.
Yeah, I can tell. So
2014, we can't do private matches.
So let's go ahead and you want to get right into that, or you want to? Well, I want to go CS:GO first.
We talk CS:GO
because that's gonna be kind of quick. All right, so let me change this topic. CS:GO. You can.
You know what game does have good competitive features? CS:GO kills it with the competitive features.
Great segue.
Yeah.
It's a great segue.
So they had a big tournament over the weekend. It was ESL One Cologne. They had $250,000 prize, which is damn good for Call of Duty. Probably one of the highest, if not the highest, in a while. Probably ever. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And they also were on sale, but they had 400,000 combined viewers was the peak. In-game client was really high though, so I think a lot of people were kind of idling for items because they do tons of drops during Counter-Strike tournaments. But that said, the number is still insanely high, right? And they just knocked it out of the park. There's good indication. I'm sure you probably already have the graphic pulled up, right? Or you have it prepared?
Yeah, I'm preparing. Hold on. Let me get it. Gotta get my monitor capture on.
Yeah, they've grown in the past year. In November of last year, they were around 50,000 players. It's not even shown on this graph, but actually, yeah, it is. So it'd be like towards the beginning where it was just idling along at 50,000. So 1 year ago, they were around 50,000 viewers a day. During this tournament, they hit a peak of almost 250,000 players. And once everything evens out post-tournament, they'll be around 200,000. So they've grown four times their player count in 1 year. And much of that is around competitive play.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit so people can see more of this.
It's like my favorite graphic in general for showing the impact of eSports.
There we go. So there's it is, the 250,000. I mean, you just look at this, and I mean, it's always hard for me to make this comparison because, like, you know, Valve is doing this, right? Like, Valve has the resources to make this shit happen like no other. But I remember there was, and this is what I was talking with Skyless before the show is, and this is not on this screen right now. This is not a variable that you can really talk about, I guess, with statistics, but other than, I guess you could look at Steam charts, right? There was a period of time where CS:GO, Counter-Strike Source, and Counter-Strike 1.6 all had like 40,000 players. Something 25,000 plus players all playing the game simultaneously at the same time. And then at some point in time, people were like, oh shit, CS:GO is actually pretty good. They're actually doing stuff for the competitive community. Let me get off of this old ass shit that I've been playing for the last 15 years, and let me get on this new. And then things started going nuts, right? And obviously they're pulling in a lot of new players. I mean, you could say, here's when I know a game is doing well. When I have some of my friends that have been playing console or played console Counter-Strike, and they played Gears, they played whatever, and now they're on CS:GO. Like, I know that they're doing fucking well when you're pulling people off of console and now they're going to Counter-Strike. Would you say that this is, I think Scoot said it, would you say that this is the #3 esport?
I think after this past weekend, it probably is. That said, Hearthstone is pretty big. No, I think Hearthstone's probably past StarCraft now as well.
I would say so.
But I'm not sure that they're like. It's really hard to think about them as esports, so I'm not sure. You know,
Right.
but like I think Counter-Strike's probably up there. It helps that it has like crazy pedigree. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they just came overnight. Like it's been around a while. And there's structure, there's names to follow, and all that stuff, which a game like Hearthstone wouldn't have. StarCraft in Korea is still big. There's international play, but it's not as big as CS:GO right now, which is crazy. Because if you asked me a year ago, I wouldn't have said that was even a possibility.
You know, the issue that Counter-Strike has always faced is that one where, you know, people won't convert over, right? Like people continue to play 1.6 like when Source came out, right? And then when Source was getting semi-big, there was this drop-off in Source or the people were just fighting over which one was better, more competitive, and all this shit. That, you know, we continue to see this shit on every single game, right? Except Call of Duty. Continue to see it. And now I think this is a pretty good example of like, hey, once you hop on the new and you get some developer support behind it, like it can blow up. It can blow up. Like that's what's happening right now. So
I was forgetting about COD. I think COD might be a 3.
I think COD is number 3. So
probably in terms of like outreach and stuff. I mean, like all their viewer counts are always masked because they stream on like MLG and stuff where you don't see the viewer counts. So it's hard to say like from a strict viewer perspective. But surely from like a general people outreach, I think that they probably have it just based on those communities are way more involved in Twitter and YouTube and stuff than the Counter-Strike community is.
Yeah, I felt like, I mean, Scoots was pretty happy, and I think he wanted to take a dig at Call of Duty based on some of the tweets I was reading, but they're definitely not a number 3. I'd say they're top 5, but Call of Duty in terms of players playing, concurrent players playing across all the Call of Duties, and viewers, and I don't know about, I would say, and viewers probably, it's easily number 3.
That said, COD hasn't grown 4 times over in the past year.
It has not. It's actually probably on the decline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's things that are chipping away at Call of Duty, but I was very, very impressed by the event. It was very well done. Awesome matches.
Yeah, there was some. I know you didn't catch all of them, but man, Cloud9 had some intense matches. Which
I just saw Twitter going nuts. Which is all like. I wanted to watch so many matches, but we had like really bad Wi-Fi. It was just so bad I couldn't watch anything.
They had the toughest group of the tournament. It's like Old Complexity, so it's the American team that was at. It was the best American team at the event. And they were down 11-4 at the half in both their games in group stage, and came back and won both of them like 15 or one went to overtime. The other one was 16-14, I think. So like super intense matches and coming back to win. It was pretty crazy. And then they almost beat NIP in round 1, and then NIP went on to take the event. So they very well could have won that event, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just so many comebacks. It was also kind of funny because they had they basically forced 2 new maps into the map pool for the event. They had Overpass and Cobble.
Were people complaining about it?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't see the fallout from that.
I mean, it wasn't like super crazy complaining because I think people realized that like there needs to have something needs to give there. Overpass was super CT heavy though, and like And Cobble just has like tons of hiding places in each site, so like it's different gameplay than the current map cycle maps, and you could say worse gameplay in a lot of ways. So like in a few cases, it was just like, I don't think they would have won that match on a better map, or those kind of people.
Right.
And because of the way they did the format, you couldn't just ban them out, which is how like in the past when they've tried to add maps to the map pool, it's been like, okay, there's 7 maps in the map pool, each of you guys ban 2, and then we'll play a best of 3. And it's been like, okay, well, I ban this new map, you ban this new map, and then we go ahead and play our normal 5, Yeah. But they forced it on this event where it was a randomized 3rd map based on the remaining maps in the pool. So you pick one, they pick one, and based on the remaining.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So it's pretty interesting. I do think both maps are better than Train, like Bigness is saying. I've always hated Train, though, so...
I don't like the way Train ends up towards, like, the middle towards the end of the matches. I like the beginning of Train, if you get, like, some people that rush bombs and you get the big bomb fights. But as soon as there's, like...
once CT posts up? Ugh.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It is so annoying to watch that. So, you know, I think it's good that they got a map in there. I have to watch some more of that, but I didn't even realize that there was some fallout from those being introduced. So that's interesting.
The cool thing though is that after the event, I saw on Reddit, it was one of the top upvoted threads for our games. Was what's the reason for global offensives exploding the way it did? Was the gist of the title. So there's lots of discussion as like why people think it's been successful, and there's lots of mentions of matchmaking, which again goes into what we were just talking about with Titanfall and what we'll talk about with Destiny. There's lots of people who recognize that the competitive matchmaking is good because it allows more people to play. You know,
Right.
you can just hop into a match and you're playing the same settings that pro play would be using, which is like finely tuned settings. You know, compared to casual. All in all, like the way they do competitive is really, really good for an FPS game. So I think that's definitely something that should be applauded. I think it's a big reason for how they've slowly grown as well. And then there's hats. I mean, there's always hats, right?
So would you say that would you make
guy.
would you make the argument that Counter-Strike Go is officially the best shooter, the best matchmaking shooter to date?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Okay.
I mean, I having trouble thinking of another good example.
Well, here's the thing. Like I played it. It's pretty damn good. But we're gonna get Halo coming out this with the Master Chief Collection, and again, I made this statement in my video I released while I was gone. But we're gonna get to see all these people that, you know, just rave over Halo 2's matchmaking like it's the shit, and it will still be the shit 10 years later. But people are gonna actually get to see it in place because that's what they're using for the game. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it holds up. Will it withstand the test of time or not? So obviously, I'm in agreement. I think CS:GO is probably hands down the best matchmaking. But for a lot of console guys, they have no, you know, understanding of it because they don't even play the game.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that CS:GO does have as a problem is the hacking and the aimbotting, which is funny because it goes back to Halo 2 as well, which had the same issue.
So, yeah.
But yeah, like that makes it really hard to kind of judge the upper ranks because it's plagued by people aimbotting.
Yeah.
There's no real good solution for it on PC. So in that regard, it might be possible for a console game to be better.
Yeah.
You think CS:GO matchmaking isn't that great, Bigness? Smurfing's a big problem? I guess?
So Big, you're saying smurfing is a big problem? We just looked at the player count that they have for concurrents. Within the number of concurrent players that they have, how big of a problem do you actually think it is relative to the population? I think that's the question you need to ask yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you figure that if they've grown 4 times in the past year, and that's in daily active users, it's not new accounts or anything, the smurfing can't really be that big of a problem when you're injecting 150,000 people into the game, you know?
Right.
Like, the amount of smurfs is minuscule.
80% Smurfs? That's like statistically impossible. You can't. It's like statistically impossible to have.
Well, no, it's because
Smurfs.
They smurf on 5 different accounts a day, Kale.
Oh, okay.
they just hop around. And then somehow they get them wiped. They don't have to ever lose their Smurf status.
So that's it on CS:GO. You know, I thought the event was fantastic. It's great to see Counter-Strike back in a major way like this, and it seems like, based on what Scoots was saying, and this is to his point about the population and the popularity of the game, they're gonna have multiple majors. Is what he was saying on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. And smurfing is, if anyone doesn't know what that term is, it's basically when a player like a pro player or someone that is very good makes a new account so that their rank is reset and they can dominate noobs. basically. High ranks making new accounts. Exactly what Bigman said. Smurfing.
Which hurts you if you're highly ranked because you won't get as much for winning because you're beating low ranked people, but really you just beat someone that was high.
Right. But yeah, I mean, Scoot said that they're going to have multiple events. So I think he's trying to say that, like, from a prize pool standpoint, an opportunity for players, they have more. That's the only way I can deduce that.
4 majors a year, I think, is the plan.
Versus one
big
championship.
Event. Which I kind of see, but at the same time, it's like.
I mean, if they're only going 250K a pop,
that's 1 million.
That's 1 million. I mean, technically, you haven't even.
I can do the maths, and that's less than 10.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, okay.
That said, it's quite good, and that's enough to sustain a community. But it's still one of those things where, like, the bottom half of the teams aren't making enough.
Yeah.
Which is what every game is plagued by right now.
So that's it on CSGO. Let's go ahead and hop on to Destiny. And look, I'm going to start off with, since Colin seems like he's going to be the destroyer right now. He's going to be in destroyer mode. I'm going to start off with just factual information that we got from...
since Colin's going to destroy dreams, I'm going to start off with facts. Before Colin gets into the non-facts.
Colin's going to be using facts too. I mean, just like straight up news.
The fact is that they're shipping without private matches. That's the fact. That's the fact. You don't need any more facts than that.
Colin.
They're shipping without private matches. That's the fact.
Let me just ramble through this. Okay, so we got a new gameplay. Let me make sure I turn it down. We can talk about what we see. Venus. They have Venus trailer that came out. Which is one of the planets. You guys don't know. It's in our solar system. It's a gaseous planet. No, it's not really a gaseous planet. It's a flaming ball of hotness right now.
Is that what it says on Wikipedia? I would say only just.
I gotta turn it down. It doesn't. I don't know what it says on Wikipedia. Oh shit. There we go. All the way down. That wasn't low enough. Anyway, so they released gameplay footage from this. Venus looks kind of cool. It looks like it was probably terraformed or something like that, with all the green stuff laying around on the planet. But you know, Bungie said that they're gonna have some new. Well, they're working on some DLC, some upcoming DLC for the game. You know what I found out about the timing? It's about 3 months out from, you know, when the game is going to launch, September 9th. I was thinking that they're probably going to be on a 3-month cycle for content. Is that what Titanfall is doing?
I guess it's roughly been how it's worked out to be.
So yeah, the first one is called The Dark Below, and it will have a new story, and that's the trailer. We'll have a new story and new weapons, new equipment, gear, items, and they're saying that there's going to be more in store for the competitive and cooperative experience. So I kind of thought it was interesting that competitive was in there, simply because more facts that we got was that they're not going to have private matches, in the sense that one clan can play against another clan. Now, there are clans in the game, which is very cool to have, but to not have the ability to essentially play against another team seems a little like a waste to me. I mean, you can't do it on purpose. So the question, I think, was phrased, and I'll link if I can find this. Hold on one second. Let's see if I put it in here. I did not. All right, so let me look at my history really quick. Anyway, so the question that was posed was something like, hey, we know there's going to be clans. Will you be able to play against other clans, like, on purpose, or will it be by random chance? I think is how the question was phrased. Right, very, very slick way to ask that question. And basically, the response was, hey, we got questions about private matches and the ability to, play against other teams, but it's going to be purely by chance, right? And they said, the primary reason is that we're working on, we wanted the gameplay to be tight, and we wanted to work on the core experience of the game. So basically, they're not going to, have that out of the gate, was essentially what I took away from that. Would you say that's accurate, Colin?
Sure.
Okay, so now I'm done. I will chime in with Colin on his rant about what was said about the private matches and clan versus clan play. But I just wanted to let you guys know the facts. And I'm going to grab the link for you guys so you can listen to the exact quote while Colin destroys fun.
So do you think that the lack of private matches killed Titanfall competitively?
I would say so,
because
yes.
That's what a lot of people say. That's what
say.
Any COD player would say, because they went right back to COD. I feel like the same thing would happen with Destiny. Like, it had a slim chance of being able to do anything like seriously competitively, because like you said, it wasn't really the focus for the game.
Right.
That was pretty clear from the outset. That said, there was people excited for it, and they still kept like throwing the occasional bone that way. Like, yeah, it'll be competitive. Yeah, sure, why not? Of course it'll be competitive. Like, there'll be people competing. Like, that's a thing. But if you don't give a platform to be able to hold any kind of organized stuff, then it falls apart really quickly.
Right.
And maybe the in-game stuff will be enough. Maybe there'll be like a good like leaderboard tracking type thing for the clan Crucible stuff. Maybe, but if private matches weren't a priority for them, I doubt that kind of stuff is priority either. Like, I doubt that letting teams compare themselves against each other was a focus if they weren't going to allow private matches in the first place.
Right.
And they had to have known that it was a big wish list item, especially as Titanfall fans clamored for it, and made Respawn add it.
According to Respawn,
it was the single highest thing which Respawn had,
exactly.
both pre-release and post-release. The single biggest thing people were asking for was private matches, so they could A, run around, and B, play matches.
Yeah.
Those are the two biggest things, and no way did Bungie not take notice of that. But they still made the decision not to ship with them. And that is just insane to me, especially given the Halo pedigree from the studio, where it's like, you built your empire on custom games in Halo 2. Not just competitive matches, but custom games as well. You're talking about like people running around playing Cops and Robbers,
Colin, Forge,
Jailhouse, whatever, Tag, like all that stuff from Halo 2, and then they built upon it in Halo 3 with Forge, and like all these things were pushing up people playing competitive and custom matches and all this stuff in private lobbies, and then you don't ship with that. That is just a really weird thing for them to do. So, and I don't think any amount of support post-release is going to help. Also, is this DLC paid? Have they said that?
No, they haven't, which is another thing I want to kind of...
Because
they're calling in expansion.
Based on what I've heard about the content, the paid DLC seems like shysterism. I don't know. I don't agree with it.
So I'm not
especially if you're gonna get better gear, because again, it digs into the whole multiplayer thing. If you're gonna get better gear for DLC players, it's gonna fuck up everything. It makes it completely shit.
Colin's about to go off.
Unless you don't match people, right? Like, the game wasn't made to work with multiplayer at all, and they did make the decisions necessary to make it work. And now, like, I feel like everyone's gonna be getting the short end of the stick at the end of the day. That's how I feel. The game's done competitively, in my opinion. Unless, and I said the same thing for Titanfall, unless there's some massive tournament that just drops with Bungie dollars behind it, Like, that's the one thing, like, any game can survive with a massive tournament, at least for a little while, but otherwise, it's fucked.
Okay. I'm in 100% agreement. All I'm going to say is, look, I'm going to echo some of the things that you've said. First and foremost, let's be completely honest. I think I went on a super rant about a year ago after Frankie. No, it wasn't Frankie. Yeah, it was. It's Frank. Frank the Show. from
Beyond.
Beyond. I can't remember the name of the show that I don't even know if they do the show anymore. But the show that they were doing for a little while, he released a video, and he's a Halo guy, and he was making comparisons with like the battle rifle and how things needed to be for competitive play, and I was like, I basically went on a tangent saying, and then listen, Abram, I know you came in here and said, hey, there's some people cheering, there's a lot of praise for there being no private matches. Let's set some expectations. I think Colin and I are disappointed in this, but again, a year ago, we were saying that anyone that was looking at Destiny like, this is going to be the next competitive shit, we're smoking like something crazy out of this world. Like, there's no way you could look in Destiny, which is basically Borderlands. It's basically Borderlands. I don't care how you slice it. It is fucking Borderlands with multiplayer. with PvP multiplayer, all right? I don't care how you slice it. If you haven't played Borderlands, go play Borderlands before you play Destiny, and then I'm telling you, that'll knock like 10 notches off your expectations. Don't get me wrong. I think the game looks phenomenal. I love the sci-fi of it, but it's fucking Borderlands. Like, I don't know what to... So anyway, I don't know how you could have looked at that game and been like, you know what? Shit, this is going to be bigger than Halo. This is going to be the next Counter-Strike. I just don't know how anyone could come to that conclusion. So for me to see the Halo guys all up on that shit, like, this is going to be the next competitive shit. And I'm like, dude, you got to get your expectations in line with what type of game they are promoting and what type of game is being shown, right? Like, they have talked about it being this massive multiplayer loot. They've talked about all this shit way beforehand. So I'm just like, I was blown away by that shit. All right, so let me get back on this. Anyway, so for them to say, hey, we don't have private matches, my biggest gripe, added on to what all of what you said, is that they weren't upfront about that shit from day one.
Yeah.
Respawn came out and said, listen guys, we don't have private matches, and that's why it was their #1 requested feature on launch, because they said that shit like a year ago.
It was like 2 months before. Yeah.
No, it was a little bit further than that.
No, it was when they did the YouTube thing, which I guess was like 2 or 3 months.
I felt like it was like 5. I felt like we knew that there were no private matches 5 months in advance.
I think we knew, but we didn't know.
I can't be 100% certain, but I felt like Respawn was more upfront about it, which is why when the game was released, and even beforehand, there was a lot of people requesting that as a feature. That's why it was the #1 requested feature, because they let people know ahead of time, and I think that gave Respawn enough time to get ahead of the curve and say, okay, we're gonna come out with this as soon as we possibly can. This will be 1.0 of private matches. But
and that's the thing, like, I don't think there's any excuse for Bungie at all based on
their history
and the Titanfall response.
Okay, 2, based on their history, right? Like you said, they've done Forge. Like, what made Halo was like the custom matches and stuff like that. I mean, look at what turned out for, you know, the Halo scene, right? Like, that grew because of the ability to play LAN against players, right? And for, you know, in addition to what you're saying for Titanfall, yeah, I mean, it's the #1 requested feature. It's just mind-boggling to me that they're going to come out 3 weeks before the game launches. 3 weeks. And say, and then, wait, it wasn't even...
As an offhand comment.
As an offhand comment.
Asked about it live on
Exactly.
Stream.
As an offhand comment, when you were asked about it on stream, yeah, we're not going to have private matches. It wasn't even like they've officially said this anywhere.
No, just like casually offhand.
Yeah, we're not going to have private matches.
30 minutes into a video
so
on YouTube.
I'm very, very taken aback by that. Super surprised from how this is kind of evolved. But, you know, overall, you know, I'm disappointed. I can't say that it was... I'm surprised in the fact that this is not their focus. I think that they're doing the right thing by the game by making this the focus. I think the game is going to be absolutely huge. And I think long-term, Colin, I think that Destiny will... And I said this, 2 weeks ago? I think Destiny is going to be fucking huge on the PlayStation. I think it's going to be monstrous. And so, you know, even if they keep, you know, a fraction of their population... you know, and most, let's say on Xbox and on PlayStation, they have a thriving community. When they release that patch that has private matches, or when they release Destiny 2 and it has private matches, then you know, I think that that community will be very, very much so on the path to making that a very big esport title for them. Because, I mean, PlayStation doesn't really have shit going for it. Like, in terms of esports, it doesn't have anything, right? Like, there's nothing. What is there? Street Fighter? On occasion? There's that. I mean, they have some offhand, Killzone, offhand. Like, there's some offhand stuff. But I think Destiny could be huge over there. So, maybe in the future we'll see that.
And everyone has a chance, because there's no such thing as a good PlayStation player. And shooters.
You were just waiting for that dig, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yo, this is the listen. We gotta be PlayStation neutral right now, dude. They got the numbers. They're stomping out. They're stomping out the Xbox One right now.
Yeah, that's true.
So we got to be careful. They might rally against us and take us down or something. But you know, like I said, I'm very, very surprised, disappointed. It's just I don't know. And you know, I love Bungie, man. I do. I love Bungie. So I think that's why, you know, we all are super critical. It's very surprising that we're seeing this from the game. And again, I don't know what. Maybe we're gonna get something that's just mind-bending with the full release. But Colin, dude, I'm just
they haven't shown anything though.
I'm not seeing it, man.
They haven't shown anything that's got me excited as a multiplayer gamer.
I'm not seeing what that game-changing. This is a changer. I'm not seeing it, and I saw that in everything else that Bungie's done. That's why it's so disappointing to me, man. Everything else they've done has been like, this is a game changer, and Destiny just doesn't feel like that to me. So, again, still getting the game, guys. Yeah. We're still getting the game.
Still getting the game.
Reluctantly, I gotta say this. I gotta remind people that we are very critical sometimes when it comes to certain things, but you know, we try to be objective about it, right?
If I wasn't a massive fan of the genre, though, I wouldn't be picking up the game.
Yeah,
like I'm a shooter guy, so at the end of the day, like, I'm going to play every major shooter, but they really haven't sold me on it.
So,
not getting no collector's edition or no season pass, that's for sure.
Speaking of collector's edition, remember the last time we had a collector's edition was around Titanfall, which I didn't get because I think it was $250 one, and my reasoning for not getting that was because I was getting it on PC and on Xbox One, right? So I was telling Skyless not too long ago, I saw the collector's edition for Advanced Warfare, and they have those fucking guns, and I want the guns. So I might get it for Advanced Warfare. I've never gotten a collector's edition. To this date, still haven't. To this date.
I don't think I have either.
You just got the whatever it was within the silver case. I don't know. Those weren't collector's edition. I don't know what those were. The scratch up your disc.
Yeah. Those were good though.
They did.
So that was a nice case.
So yeah, I'm kind of reading some responses. Diggler said they did everything right except what counted for the competitive community.
Who is he referring to?
I imagine Bungie. If PS4 made an arena shooter, it might be over for Xbox. Xbox has
competitive
console. Yeah. Okay. Titanfall. PS4 is the shit. I have both. They should have done it. Agreed. It's just fun to fuck around in private with some friends. Agreed.
I didn't get Gears because I got it for free.
You barely played the PC version?
So I didn't get any kind of collector stuff?
Tricks, I played it. Played it enough. But I didn't play it a whole lot because everybody else was on Xbox One. I just played with my teammates. Not even Gears. I did not get a Gears limited edition.
Yeah, Sam, I didn't get it because we got it for free. We got Gears 3 for free. We got Judgment.
We got Gears 2 for free, and we got Gears 3 for free.
Did we? Oh yeah, Gears 2 as well.
Gears 2 came out when we were working at
shortly after we started because they said extra copies, so we just
yeah. KO, when you say game changer in regards to what Bungie has put out, what do you mean? Halo has been Halo pretty much every release, just with better graphics, new guns. Wow. All right, so
that's kind of funny considering everyone else says that it's changed every step of the way.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go back to Halo 1. Right, you get this basically PC shooter experience very, I think at the time, very story-driven campaign that no one had, right? There was no other game that was offering that type of experience with the land play, all of that. And if anyone could point me to one, I'd happily. I mean, there were some military simulators that were out, or military style shooters that were out during the time. Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Wolfenstein. Those were all games that were Rainbows, yeah. But I don't feel like any of them were very like sci-fi. Let's bring you a fantasy new story. It was all revolved around war, right? That we already have visited before. Like, you know, it wasn't doing anything different. So from a story standpoint, I felt like that was a game changer, right? Second thing, Halo 2 released multiplayer, clans, this new matchmaking system. They basically defined what multiplayer is now for every single game that has come out for the Xbox. Every single one, right? Before Halo 2, there was no multiplayer experience on console that was basically the same. You know, with matchmaking, skill-based matchmaking, there was none. That didn't exist before Halo 2.
They basically made all of Xbox Live.
Exactly. Halo 2. All right, so that's one thing, right? Halo 3 introduced this full-on stats, forge, theater mode, all of these things that were originally in PC games to the console, right? They defined that shit for the Xbox and for a lot of other games. You look at how many fucking games have now copied theater mode. How many games don't have theater mode and people are still fucking asking for it? How many games have allowed you to go on your website, download your play, and then show everyone your play? No one. So I don't know how anyone can say it's been the same Halo from the start of the game to the release. When you think about what Bungie has done for the industry, they have literally defined a lot of multiplayer shooters in the last 10 years. Literally defined what it means. So for you to not understand what has made them different, I feel like you probably haven't been paying attention to the small details. And those weren't very small details. Those are pretty major features.
You would have had to have been playing back then. You know what I mean? Like, multiplayer gaming on console is so primitive.
Exactly. So
even on PC, like PC's always just been like, oh yeah, here's the game in a server browser, you know? And
right.
Like, sometimes you get demo files. Sometimes there's like development tools just because it's easy for the developers just to upload them. But like beyond that, like everything was super primitive before this crazy complex system that Halo 2 brought in.
So yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, for Bungie, Bungie's always been like up here. Like you guys will see at the top of my screen, right? They've always been up here. So anytime they've come out with a game, I've been looking at what they're doing differently, why they're doing those things, and why they're making those decisions. Destiny, to me, from a multiplayer standpoint, is not game-changing. It is not, to me, at least, doing the things that we've seen them just define what it means to be a multiplayer. I don't feel like they're doing that at all. I feel like they are giving us a cross between Borderlands and a multiplayer game. And I just don't feel like what they're doing is going to define this console generation. I think it's going to be an awesome game. I think it's going to be a great experience specifically for people on the PlayStation. But I don't feel like this is the same type of game-changing experiences that I had as a console player going forward. And that is what Bungie has meant to me as a studio. They've literally defined the last 10 years, I felt like, for shooters. So that is why I'm so disappointed. In a nutshell. And what else do we have, Colin, before... Xbox One is launching a Reddit app. Boom. Done. Knocked that out. Had that in there.
I think it goes live tomorrow.
And then we got 54. Okay. I have this video coming out. We're gonna end this show. We should cut this show. Alright, we're gonna do Q&A, and then we're gonna cut the show so the people on YouTube don't get to see this discussion.
They're already getting salty about it in the comments.
I don't care. They need to tune in live.
there's been like 2 or 3 comments per video recently.
Yeah, they're like,
dude, quit telling us all the shit we're missing. Fuck you.
Guys don't want to miss this.
But then I upload one video with trailers, and it gets taken off. So you know why you can't see anything.
Exactly. That's exactly why.
That's why there was no episode 80. All right, so we're going to do Q&A?
Yeah, Q&A. Then we'll get into the super secret discussion. Any questions? Questions.
Did you see they're renaming Edge of Tomorrow for their DVD release?
I didn't.
They're calling it, I think, Live on the Edge.
Live on the Edge?
Yeah. I guess, like, because it bombed in theaters, despite getting really good reviews.
Right.
So they're hoping that just by renaming it, people won't know what happened. It's the only explanation for it.
Oh, that's funny. Bigness asked, did you get a chance to stop by the Heroes of the Storm booth? So I have a picture of...
Live, Die, Repeat is what they're using. And then they're changing the tagline.
I have a picture, which I'll try to... I mean, I'll post it on my Twitter right after the show so you guys can actually get a better view of it. So there's this new feature I found out on my phone called like surround picture. And so I could take a 360-degree picture. So
Panorama.
I was able, yeah, it's better than panorama. I'm able to take pictures of crazy stuff. So let's see, zoom in for me. This is like their booth before anyone gets in, right? This is what it looks like. You guys can kind of see it. It's massive, right? Let me go the other way so you guys can see the other side. Alright, so there it is. That's their booth. It was like maybe if EA's was half the size of a hall, Blizzard might have been like a third. They had a huge space, and the Heroes of the Storm booth was packed all the time. They had this line that was wrapping around like 3 times around the side of their booth. It was crazy. Edge of Tomorrow was so good. It was one of the best movies ever.
Couple comments about, I think Halo 5 will surpass a rival COD for esports. You know, go big. You think Halo will get big again as far as tourneys go, et cetera, et cetera?
I would say yes. I mean, Colin, you can go ahead and answer that.
I think it's hard, you know, like...
They're competing against a lot.
Yeah, I guess that's really what it boils down to. There's more mindshare, though, for like esports now, which wasn't really there before. But like, there's so many things working against the Halo competitive scene, which they kind of have to overcome. Like, there's this general stigma amongst the Halo community they've always had as a issue from like the MLG settings days and Bungie forums and all that crap. So like, there's always that lingering as far as like mass adoption from the fan base. Then you have the fact it's a console game. You don't have a huge YouTube presence from those guys. Like, actually, you have almost no YouTube presence from those guys, with the exception of like Beyond and the video stuff they've been doing. So it's really hard to say like, yeah, it'll be bigger than COD or as big as COD, just based on that alone. Like, it's a huge mountain to climb for them. Yeah. It's possible. I think they're going to do a lot to make it happen, from all indications so far. But it's not going to be like a very quick thing, that's for sure.
So here's one thing that Trex, I talk about this in a video I have coming out. I think it's for it's for what we're going to talk about after the show, after we get done with Q&A session, which we're going to end in about 5 minutes. So, do I think Halo 5 will be surpass COD? Right? And Colin, I don't. Was it Trix that you asked it?
It was Trix and Brother Kratos.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if which one it was, but anyway, I think there's this perception, right, that install base doesn't matter, right? I think that people are underestimating how much having your console or your game on one console actually limits the growth that you have for the game. The reason that I think that the comparison can't be made for like a League of Legends or a Dota is because there's like fucking 1.5 billion people with computers, right? 1.5 billion, not million, billion.
And globally.
Global, on top of that.
There's not a lot of Xboxes in Russia or
Xboxes
China.
and PlayStations release in certain regions, right? The highest one that ever got sold, I think, was PlayStation 2, and they just reached 100 million, right? Just reached 100 million. 1.5 billion, 100 million. That's what, 10%? It's 10% of the install base of PCs. So people have to understand, I think, that not by trying to say, hey, let's compete with a Call of Duty, or let's compete with the League of Legends. What is your install base? How many people are you actually reaching within Xbox, right? Like, that's one thing that I think people vastly underestimate, especially within the competitive community. They don't look at that stuff. They go, oh, those Call of Duty guys, they're playing on Xbox. Oh, we can do better than that, right? Oh, those Call of Duty guys, oh, that game is shit. This game takes way more skill. It's going to be so much better to watch. What the fuck are you smoking? They got way more people than you because they're on every single system and they're on PC. Like, as soon as, or if Microsoft were ever to say, you know what? We need to make a ton of money right now. Let's just sell Halo on everything. Then I think you would see Halo surpass Call of Duty in terms of viewership, or Counter-Strike in terms of viewership, because then they're everywhere. Until that happens, fuck no. It's not even gonna be a thing. Do you think it's possible to take skills from one genre of game and apply it to a different genre? Example, shooter skills and applying that to a fighter.
So there was a stretch where I played competitively Gears, Fight Night, Carom 3D, which is a virtual pool game, and something else. I think we did like Frontlines or something around the same time. Really, I think that you can take the general like how to practice and how to approach the game kind of thing mentality. Right. The idea of not like feeling things are cheap, or like looking at what other people do and use that to your advantage, and like learning from better players. It's like all those things are things which kind of are cross game. But as far as like game mechanics, I don't think there's as much overlap, but a good player in a certain type of game will usually be pretty good at other games as well. If they have that kind of the process down, you know?
Yeah. What do you guys think about games not being exclusive that will eventually be out on other platforms in a few months after release? Was that the Tomb Raider thing? Colin, you called it. Dude, you called it. Last week, you were like, hey, they worded it kind of funny. And I saw, before anyone else put out any other articles, you called that shit.
Yeah, there's lots of people questioning it, though. But yeah, I did, I guess.
Called it.
You can tell. You can read through the PR marketing jargon. Especially when they keep asking them throughout the event, and they keep on saying, yeah, it's exclusive for Holiday 2015.
Yeah.
Like, keep adding Holiday 2015 every single time they say it. It's like, okay, we get it.
Let's see. Question from Chico. How successful do you think Evolve will be, and how competitive will it can be? Question 2. Which is better, Gears 3 or Gears 1? Oh, God. Alright, so question 2 we're not going to answer live. No, I'm just joking. Question 1. How successful do you think Evolve will be, and how competitive can it be?
I don't think it'll be competitive.
I don't think...
for the same reasons, like Left 4 Dead has trouble.
Multiplayer works, not in that sense. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to watch. But like,
we're holding a tournament for it and proper.
How do you divvy up the funds, right? Like,
or even the team, like how do matches work? Like,
that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't. It seemed like the structure for that would be kind of weird. Question 2: Which is better, Gears 3 or Gears 1? I felt like I've answered this question before. Personally, I feel like Gears 3 is the better of the two.
Sure.
More polished.
Gears almost pretty good for its time, though.
It was. And 10:05. I'm gonna stop the stream. Done with Q&A, and then we're gonna get into the other topic for the day, for the evening, I should say. So, if you're on YouTube, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Be sure to subscribe. If you guys want to see episode 80, link is down in the description.